With 2018 bringing us Batman's Ruined Wedding, Cable's murder, Heroes in Crisis, and the end of Mr. Miracle, it seemed as though 2019 had no chance of outdoing such a dramatic and surprising year. It would appear that the vast majority of comic writers and artists were also aware of this, however, as they appear to have looked at 2018, chortled a mighty and then decided to actually start getting crazier this year. As such, we've had an insane number of hugely surprising developments in both comics and the comics industry, all of which are seemingly tailor-made to outdo one another. While you'd think that the sheer quantity of astonishing moments would leave you overwhelmed, they actually do the exact opposite, as you wait in anticipation for the next crazy twist that your favorite series will provide. As a result, readers are seldom ever disappointed. 2019 has been a year of secret identity reveals, secret world destruction, and tragic character death. So buckle up, viewers, and major spoilers ahead. I'm Ewan, this is What Culture Comics, and here are the 10 biggest WTF comic book moments from 2019. Number 10. Mark Shaw turns evil. Event Leviathan, number 6. Event Leviathan was arguably the mystery comic of the year, prompting endless fan debate over who the mysterious villain known only as the Leviathan actually was. Even we were told that it was someone who had already existed in the comic world for a long time. It was a delightful mystery for the most part, where every last ounce of detail was torn apart by readers like hungry wolves ready to find the answers they were looking for. Despite this intense speculation, few were expecting the real identity of the Leviathan until the issue prior to the big reveal, where it became clear that the person was definitely one of the few people who had held the hero identity of the Manhunter. This would eventually lead to a reveal that this dastardly villain was none other than Mark Shaw, the third Manhunter, and a character we hadn't seen in literal years prior to this event, making the whole reveal genuinely quite surprising. Just wish the finale had stuck things a little better though. Number 9. The Green Lantern Corps are destroyed. Green Lantern Black Stars. If there's one thing that nobody stepped into 2019 expecting, it was the absolute destruction of the entire Green Lantern Corps and the creation of the Black Stars, who are basically the collective Lantern Corps turned evil. This is set up in the Green Lantern number 12, which saw Hal Jordan forced to use the questionable Miracle Machine in order to rewrite the DC universe, resulting in the destruction of the entire Green Lantern Corps. While this rewrite is unlikely to last longer than the Black Star series itself, it's still undeniably exciting to see an integral portion of the DC world wiped out in one brutal fell swoop. Similarly, while seeing Hal Jordan turn evil is nothing new, seeing a totally twisted version of the Corps is amazing and horrifying all at once. Number 8. Tom King leaves Batman early. Having planned to write 106 issues for his Batman series, it's safe to say everyone was hugely surprised when Tom King revealed that issue 85 of his run on Batman would be his last, with James Tynion IV taking over from him afterwards. While it did come out of left field, the reasoning is entirely logical. King told fans at the 2019 New York Comic Con that he wanted to focus more on the relationship between Catwoman and Batman, whereas DC themselves wanted the comic to link in closer with events that spanned the entire universe, which this storyline would not have allowed. As such, a compromise was struck, wherein King would work on a separate series titled Batman Catwoman, whereas the actual series will continue in a completely different direction. All in all, it does seem that everyone got what they wanted, at the cost of giving fans a big shock when they initially found out the news. Whether or not that's how it really went down is up for debate, but at least King will get to wrap his series up all the same, and with the Phantasm too. Number 7. Daredevil becomes the guardian of the Bifrost. Jason Aaron's time on Thor is drawing to a close this December, but the penultimate chapter of his run, War of the Realms, was by no means any less pivotal. The epic Marvel crossover saw Aaron's 7-year stint on Thor collide with the rest of the Marvel Universe in a huge way, as Malekith finally enacted his plan to invade Midgard and complete his War of the Realms. It treated us to some seriously epic moments, like all the Thors coming together to take down the Dark Elf, or Iron Man building a suit of armor for Odin, or the Punisher going after frost giants in the middle of New York City. Best of all, though, was what happened to Daredevil. Under Aaron's guidance, the man without fear became the god without fear, as he took control of the Bifrost and with it Heimdall's sword and powers. Transformations don't get much cooler or much crazier than that. Number 6. Finding out what's beneath the Thing's rocks. Fantastic Four number 13. When you think of what kind of surprising moments are likely to pop up in any given year, you naturally think of character deaths, the ending of certain series, and a sprinkling of interesting plot lines. What you likely didn't expect is to find out what is under the Thing's stony exterior, largely because, for the longest time, Marvel let us live in sweet, blissful innocence, believing that the Thing was all rock the whole way down. However, the Fantastic Four revealed to us that this was, nightmarishly, not the case, as issue 13 showed that Ben Grimm does in fact still have flesh underneath his rock shell, which has all the gross swollen texture of a pus-filled wound. In terms of WTF moments, the reveal that one of your favorite superheroes is secretly comprised of wounded sword-like skin is perhaps the grossest of the year, although certainly not the biggest. Number 5. Alfred's death, Batman 77. As the most consistently lovable member of the Bat family since basically forever, Alfred Pennyworth, Batman's long-suffering butler, was considered pretty much invulnerable in terms of characters who could be permanently killed off. Which made it a delightfully traumatic moment when Batman number 77 came around, and fans were treated to the trauma of seeing Bane snap Alfred's neck like a twig, killing him instantly. Though many speculated that this couldn't possibly be the actual death of Alfred we were seeing, it would later be confirmed both inside and outside of the comic itself that DC had decided to go through with the charming old man's death, having seen just how powerful the audience's reaction to it had been, despite originally planning to reverse it during the arc. With the plot covering Batman's genuine suffering over the man who was basically his adopted father, it seems less and less likely that our beloved butler will be coming back to us anytime soon. Much to our collective despair, oh dear God. Number 4. The end of The Walking Dead. Much like the TV show, many people, fans and critics alike, felt that the Walking Dead comic series would simply never end. After all, with countless potential to move Rick Grimes and his son through different factions and parts of the apocalypse, it seemed as though the comic could continue indefinitely. But all good things must end, and The Walking Dead was no exception to this rule. After bringing us a mind-blowing ending that would ultimately begin with Rick's death and then go on to show us how society progressed as Carl grew up, the series managed to maintain its philosophical core even in its final moments. As Carl belabors the generations who don't understand the threat the zombies pose, even suggesting that their carelessness could bring about another zombie-based apocalypse in the future. Of all of this though, the single most surprising part has to be the fact that it closes on a happy ending, showing us Carl reading to his daughter about his and Rick's adventures, bringing an unexpected but entirely heartwarming spot of closure. Number 3. The X-Men threesome, Various. Perhaps the single most unexpected WTF moment of the year, if not possibly this century, comes in the form of a series of pretty heavy-handed suggestions that X-Men staples Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey were likely involved in a polyamorous relationship altogether. The hints came thick and fast throughout Jonathan Hickman's House of X and Powers of 10 series, and grew only more apparent as both went on. While they started with the pair merely exchanging a loaded glance, wink wink nudge nudge, the drama peaked with a page that showed that the rooms the three had in the X-Men space had doors leading directly to each other's room, meaning that the three essentially shared one big room. But in truth, even though none of us expected this to happen, it kind of all makes sense. That love triangle was so stale, and the fact that it's now an equilateral and not an isosceles is pretty great, and less shocking than the triangle-based humor I just brought to the table. Jesus Christ, what was I thinking? Number 2. The DC timeline gets weird. Doomsday Clock. Doomsday Clock has proved a continual thorn in DC's side ever since it was first delayed. With this story taking place a year after the current other comics, the series has taken on untold complications due to its delays, such as Alfred being alive in the series when he's actually dead following Tom King's Batman. These issues have resulted in many fans being uncertain if the comic is supposed to fit into the proper DC timeline, or if the story is no longer to be considered properly canon. While this is all likely to be hand-waved away via the use of Dr. Manhattan's reality-bending powers, the whole palaver is one of the biggest WTF moments of the year, if only by merit of how confusing it got towards the end. And number 1, the 5th Turtle teammate, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 95. If there's one thing that everyone knows about the TMNT, it's that they've had 4 members as long as they've existed: Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo. It's been the one consistent fact about the franchise since its creation in 1984, and yet it's one that is no longer true, as this year saw a 5th turtle join the Brothers 4. In an especially unusual method too, as Jennifer would be turned into a turtle when Leonardo was forced to transfuse his blood to her to save her from death, which gruesomely transformed her from human to Destudiness, in a moment that literally nobody but the writer and artist could see coming. While there have been other temporary turtle additions, these have never been part of the team quite as officially as Jennifer is, likely because figures like Venus seem like an excuse to force unfortunate artists to draw breasts on turtle people. As such, the Yellow Turtle's permanent inclusion in the team is a pretty huge moment in the comic series, as well as the biggest surprise in comics this year. So yeah, those are the biggest WTF moments in comics this year. Please share yours down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. It really helps us out, and yeah, I'd personally appreciate it if you did. That's all for now though. Hope you're all doing well these winter months, keep supporting your local comic book store, and I'll see you next time. Bye!